Alright, hi everyone. Welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk. And in this video, we are going to be recapping the Crossroads League Tournament Championship game on the men's side. And then, of course, following these videos, we are going to dive straight. We're going to go all in for the national tournament because we are a little more. We're 20. It's a little after 12 noon, so 24 plus 8. So we're roughly about 30 and a half hours away from the selection show for those who will make the national tournament. Of course, I'm just sticking to the women's side, and there is a lot to cover in these videos. Here today, we have the final RPI, final ARCs, and final quad records. Those are all officially out. So in my following video, we are going to dive into all of that, and I will be making my final predictions. And I have a piece of paper here with me that I am going to be going over all the bubble teams. Now, again, the list of bubble teams, that does not reflect the final RPI, but I did learn from rewatching a video last night that the selection show committee does not use the final RPI numbers. They only use the final RPIs in terms of the regular season. So the final RPI before the conference tournaments was last Monday, and that is the final RPI that the committee uses in terms of going over all the teams. Now, I don't know if they use the final ARC numbers or the final quad numbers. I don't know if they use all of that, but I do know that they do not use the RPI numbers after the conference tournaments are completed. So I guess technically you could say that the list of bubble teams that I have here on a sheet of paper with me this afternoon is basically that's going to be your list of bubble teams for the national tournament based on the RPI that was released last week. So I will be going over all of that, making my final predictions based on those bubble teams only, where they stand in their final RPI, where they stand in their quad records, and where they stand in their ARC numbers. So that is going to be coming over. Now, again, not all of the bubble teams are going to be listed in their respective arc, because in terms of, there are some arcs that have 16 total teams listed, others only have 10 or 11. Now, if those bubble teams are not listed in that category, then that means that they did not meet, I shouldn't say they didn't meet the criteria, but they did not have the kind of season that they would have loved to have had in order to make the top 16, or being the best 11 or 16 team in their respective arc, depending on what arc you are in terms of the country. So again, some of those bubble teams, we're not going to see them in their respective arcs. So for some of them, I'll be going over their final RPI and their final quad records and making my final predictions based on that. So that's going to be following the Crossroads League Tournament Championship game recap on the men's side. And so let's, without further ado, we are going to dive into that. And real quick, I do want to mention that if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please do so down below so you do not miss out on any of the important content that I'll be sharing over the next 3 weeks. As starting next weekend, I'll be recapping the rounds of I'll be recapping the national tournament in terms of the Crossroads League schools only on the men's and women's side that made the tournament, and I'll be recapping each individual round as long as those Crossroads League schools stay in the hunt for the red banner. And I also will be going over not just that, but I also will be updating my printed out bracket after each individual round, showing you how I'm doing throughout the whole tournament. So again, make sure you stay tuned for all of that. And this is the place to be here on my YouTube channel over the next 3.5 weeks. So again, please hit the subscribe button down below if you are not already subscribed, so you do not miss out on any of that important content, because we're here. We're here to the national tournament in 2026, and I could not be more excited to be sharing all this content with you. And I will have a very special episode coming your way tomorrow. I hope to get it uploaded by no later than mid-afternoon, so that would be 3 o'clock. So no later than that, at least I'm hoping that's the case, to where I will be recording a very special episode, and in that episode I will be sharing with you my final projections in terms of the seed lines of all the teams that have received automatic bids, as well as those that will be receiving at-large bids, where I think all of those teams will be in terms of seeding. So again, that is my very special episode in terms of content that I will be going over tomorrow, and that will be the last episode before next weekend when the national tournament starts. So again, I could not be more excited to be sharing that content with you tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's my very first year in doing it, and I plan on doing it moving forward every single year because I think it's very helpful and informative information to you to help you better understand, where teams should be in terms of seeding, and especially in terms of the teams that will be hosting. So again, super excited to share that with you. So the championship game on the men's side last night, Grace prevailing, number 1 seed Grace over number 2 IWU. Grace prevailing 84-82. Both teams missed a lot of free throws, so that was a major difference in this game. The Wildcats had a chance to either tie or win, but on the last IWU possession, Grace's Ian Roush stole the ball away from IWU's DJ Moore, and that officially sealed the game for the Lancers. And the Lancers complete a historic 5-peat to where they have won 5 straight Crossroads League Tournament Championships. So a huge congratulations to head coach Scott Moore, his assistant coaches Charlie Warner, Charlie Warner, former Grace player, as well as Stephen Halstead. And they have just done such a great job with this men's Lancer team. So Ben, big congratulations to all of them for that achievement. So looking at stats for the Wildcats, you had 14 points for Isaac Andrews, 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from deep, 2 of 2 at the line. He had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Only 2 points for DJ Moore, but he had 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and steal. 11 points from Miller McCartney, 4 of 7 shooting, 3 of 6 from deep, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals. 13 points for Jake Smith, 5 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 from deep, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. 9 points for Cademan Bontrigger. He had 11 rebounds, as well as 2 assists, 2 steals, 4 of 11 shooting, 1 of 4 at the line. And then off the bench, you had 8 points for Crew Gibson, 3 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 at the line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 6 points for Marcus Ankney, 2 of 3 shooting, 2 of 2 of that was from deep, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists for him. And Kevin Sakis, 3 points in 8 minutes of action with an assist. And then the big one was Julius Gizzi, 16 points. Now 7 of the 16 were at the free throw line, though. He had 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 3 steals. And the Wildcats shot 45 from the field, 42 from 3. So really good numbers there. Now, the bad thing was, I shouldn't say the bad thing, but the down thing was they only shot 15 out of 23 up charity stripe for 65%, so that made all the difference there. Then for Grace, you had 21 points for Ian Rouse, 7 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from deep, 5 of 8 at the line. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. 8 points for Hunter Walston, 3 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep, 1 at the line, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and a block. You had 10 points for Gage Septon, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 at the line, or 2 of 4 from 3, I stand corrected, 2 of 2 at the line. He had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Really good balanced numbers there. And you had 16 points for Tyler Rouse, 5 of 13 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep, 5 of 7 at the line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. Really good to see that. And then off the bench, 3 points for Michael Wellman, 1 of 5 shooting, 1 of 2 at the line. He had 2 rebounds, 8 points for Cannon Hauser, 3 of 3 shooting, 2 of 2 from deep, 3 rebounds. You had 11 points for Gavin Benton, 5 of 10 shooting, 1 of 4 from deep, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. And then Luke Bricker, 4 minutes of action, had an assist and a steal. And the Lancers shot 53% from the field, struggled from 3 at 38, and they also struggled at the line, converting 14 out of 21 for 66. And that was your match up there. And that concludes recapping the Crossroads League Tournament men's game. And then looking at the updated standings, Grace heads into the national tournament next weekend, 28-3. They remain perfect at home at 16-0. And Grace will be hosting the opening rounds next weekend. Indiana Wesleyan falls to 26-5. They will be hosting next weekend, so they will await their opponent on a selection show tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Bethel 23-7. They'll await their opponent tomorrow night as well. Huntington 22-8. Huntington will be hosting. They will await their opponent as well tomorrow night at 7. And then Taylor 19-10. They potentially will await their opponent. They could be an at-large team, so their potential opponent, they'll learn that tomorrow night at 7. And Mount Vernon Nazarene, the last bubble team, 17-12. Potentially awaiting their opponent. They are on the bubble. And then St. Francis, Spring Arbor, Goshen, Marion, all not making the league tournament. So that is an updated view of all of that. So in our next video, we are going to be going over the final RPI numbers, as well as the final ARC and quad records. All that will be coming your way in the following video. And then I'll record a third video making my final national tournament prediction based on on all the bubble teams only where their RPI is, where their ARC is, and where their quads are. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you momentarily for my next video. God bless.